Paranormal Andy and Phantom Dark Dave. The Screaming Skull Podcast.
What's up, everybody? You're listening to a brand new episode of the Screaming Skull Podcast, and we are your hosts. I'm Phantom Dark Dave.
And I'm Abnormal Andy.
Andy, I feel like I just talked to you last week.
That's right. I mean, yeah, it was just a week ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually, I talk to you every day, don't I?
Hell yeah, man.
Oh, man. And last time we were on here, we did our top five favorite horror movie openings, and dude, that was a fun episode.
It was. It gave us a chance to talk about several different movies. I don't think, I don't think we had any
We
crossover at
had
all.
no crossover, which was awesome. Some of the movies
Yeah.
lined up where it was like, oh, you did an 80s movie? I did an 80s movie.
Yeah.
But I think what's really cool and special about that episode is being that we focused primarily on the openings of horror movies. They were maybe like slight spoilery, but not very much. So much so that almost anybody can listen to that. And if it was a movie that they hadn't seen, we probably talked them into wanting to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. It's like you said, it's a good introduction to some of those movies. I mean, that people may not know about. Of course, people have definitely heard us talk about Scream plenty of times, so that's not really an introduction
Today's
there.
not going to be an exception, is
Yeah.
it? We're
Yeah.
just days away.
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, but that episode was cool because we talked about movies like from the 60s all the way up to at least 2016 almost. So it's
Oh
something for
yeah.
everybody in there.
Yep.
And we're going to do something we haven't done in a while, aren't we, Andy?
Yeah, I saw a couple of headlines that got my attention. So, well, yeah, let's get into it.
Horror News.
Me and Dave are super excited about the new Scream
The
movie.
Olympics.
Oh yeah, the
see,
Olympics.
I
Sure.
tried to guess.
Yeah. So, all the news that I have to talk about is about Scream 7. So, or just the Scream franchise. So, it is what it is. You guys know
Hey,
the drill.
it's
So,
one of the greatest horror franchises in the world. In fact, I think that in the near future, we probably need to do top five horror franchises. That sounds great.
oh yeah, that's cool.
All right. What you
So,
got?
yeah, so this one caught my attention. This is perfect for leading up to watching the new Scream movie. The headline reads Pluto TV has all six Scream movies streaming for free. Um,
I want to jump in on that and
yeah.
say, hell yeah, they do, because just on Sunday, I watch Pluto every day. I'm letting it,
Okay.
every single day. It is my cable TV substitute, and it's fantastic. They have a Universal Monsters station, so of course I watch that shit. But on Sunday, I actually watched Scream 4, 5, and 6 just for the hell of it, all in a row, because they were all on Pluto. It was great.
Nice. Yeah. They have every Scream entry and well, and then my second news story kind of ties into this. If you're worried about not having enough time to watch all the movies before you see the Scream 7, well, this next headline might give you a little bit more time. So there is a licensing issue that could delay the release of Scream 7.
Better not.
Yeah, I know. So basically, it all comes down to who owns the rights to the Scream mask, Ghostface,
Oh,
right?
here we go.
So it has come into play again. I know, like, this isn't the first time that they've had a legal battle over this. So some background: before the mask appeared in the films, it was mass-produced Halloween mask. Fun World is a company that released what they called the peanut-eyed ghost to the masses in the 90s. Wes Craven found one of these masks in a vacant home while scouting for locations to shoot the original Scream film. Unfortunately, Fun World wanted too much money for licensing. Because of this, Craven had K&B Effects create several variations of the mask to use in the film. After intense negotiation, Fun World and Dimension came to a compromise. Years later, the peanut-eyed ghost would become one of the most iconic symbols of horror ever created. However, a new fighter has joined the match now that there's a new company, or it's not new, but it's a company called Alterian Ghost Factory. They have made the claim that their company created the mask before Fun World.
Oh,
So, and so basically after they did this, of course the legal battle sprung up. Let's see here.
we're fucked. That's what you're saying. We're basically fucked.
So
God.
Spyglass and Paramount Pictures are suing a Los Angeles-based special effects studio claiming ownership of the droopy-eyed horror mask. In a lawsuit filed on Friday in California federal, the companies say that the Alterian Ghost Factory is threatening copyright infringement litigation ahead of the release of the next installment of the Scream franchise. The suit seeks a court order which would bar the special effects studio from suing, establishing that it's in solid legal ground. So basically, it's Paramount and Spyglass, the ones that are releasing Scream 7, are actually the ones suing this other company so they don't sue, basically.
Wow.
So they're saying, Paramount is saying that Alterian has never legally established that it owns the rights to the ghost face mask, and it will not be able to prove it now in this litigation. And seeking to disrupt the release of a completed motion picture mere weeks before its release, the seventh installment of a franchise that Alterian watched grow in silence for 3 decades, it's an outrageous attempt to shake them down.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Like, that is hella intentional.
Yeah, they didn't say anything all this time, and so Alterian, this company, they're saying Fun World had no right to license the mask, saying that they created the underlying design first, which was later copied by Fun World. So, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes me feel a little better because I was getting pretty upset that who we thought the original and still might be owners like Fun World, because I remember talking about them back when you and I did the original Scream on a different thread, and we talked about how like they got the licensing rights for like $100. I was like, that's really cool of them, you know? And then I thought you were
Yeah.
going to come at me saying, oh, they want more money. I'm like, it's too late. But the fact
Right.
that you're saying, oh no, it's a prequel thing. There's a different company that wants the
Yeah.
money. I'm like, huh. I mean, that's kind of interesting, but you know, if it was at a different time frame, that would be a totally different like conversation, right? But the fact that it's days before the release of 7, it just feels too hokey to be true.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think I think as far as I can tell, everything's still on track for it to release on the
Hell yeah, I
20.
already got tickets, of course.
Oh
They
yeah.
can't do this to me.
Oh, are you going to the opening night event?
Uh, okay, so we are going to opening night, but we're not doing the fan event for it.
Okay.
The reality is, I'm very picky about where I seat. I'm very
Yeah.
picky about what time I go. All these things make me a picky bitch. But this is going to be my kids' first horror movie in theater, so it had to be as perfect as possible. And so the very first horror movie that I ever saw in theater was Scream, and it's just a fucking honor that I can do that with my kid, that their first one will also be a Scream movie. So I'm just over
Oh
the
yeah.
moon.
That's
Over the
awesome.
moon, dude. So oh yeah. And the reality is what it boils down to is that fan event, as really cool as it probably is, because I've done some other fan event things and you usually get like a poster or something, and I'm like, that's
Yeah.
gnarly. They're doing it in the Dolby Atmos, and I'm very sensitive with hearing. I don't like super loud things, so Atmos is a huge no-go for me.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, no. Are you? Do you have tickets?
I do not. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see with my schedule, see if I can make it or not. I may
I
have to go on
mean,
like
I
a
can't
Friday or
tell you something you don't already know, but this is going to be something that you can't have ruined for you, so you need to go as soon as possible to avoid all spoilers, my dude.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm gonna wear a 3-foot cowboy hat and hide a camera in there, and I'm gonna send you the movie.
Okay.
Everything's bigger in Texas. Y'all won't suspect a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
well, that's
All
all the
right.
news I got. I'm sure people will try to hear about Scream, so let's talk about Swamp Thing.
1982.
The main event.
Government agents, scientists, soldiers, master criminals, secret formulas, monsters, and midgets. None of them belong in this swamp. Only one thing does. The Swamp Thing.
Uh-huh. Here comes trouble.
The Swamp Thing.
There goes the neighborhood.
Adrienne Barbeau and the Swamp Thing, an outrageous pair in the incredible adventure that grows on you or all over you. The Adventures of the Swamp Thing. The comic book legend lives.
All right. Yeah, so I picked this movie. It's funny because I didn't even realize that Wes Craven directed this one, and it fits really nicely in this month. Our Scream release month. So Wes Craven. So yeah, it's perfect.
It's also a movie that I don't think you're the only one. I think a lot of people don't realize that this was a very early movie for Wes Craven because in the 70s he was kind of establishing himself with some of the I don't even know what you want to call it, like exploitative type horror movies, Last House on the Left, Hills Have Eyes. And so for him to do a comic book movie, especially in a time period where comic book movies really weren't all the rage,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's kind of wild, but I think I had heard that he took this project on because it was kind of one of those like, this is my chance to show that I can be more than an independent. I could take on a big budget horror movie. This movie's got lots of explosions and Andy, to be honest with you, I had never seen this movie before, so I was really excited that you brought it to the table, and I didn't know what I was going to get out of it, but I've watched it twice because at the end of the day, this is a fun 80s action movie.
It is, and yeah, like you said, this really it was released in 1982. Before we have nowadays comic book movies are all the rage. They're it's and
Every year.
um so yeah, and it's based on DC Comics Swamp Thing. So
Yes.
that's cool.
Yep.
Originally created by Lynn Wine, I think Wein, and Bernie
Hmm.
Wrightson. This was produced during a boom in practical effects genre filmmaking. Yeah, so this was made like during the heyday of the 80s special effects that we know and love. Yeah, definitely Wes Craven, like, talk about a horror legacy. I mean, he's one of the most important horror directors ever. Like you said, Last House on the Left, Hills Have Eyes. And then after this movie, well,
Yep.
I don't know, he might have done some other things before, but he did Nightmare on Elm Street, like,
I
not soon
think,
after this.
yeah, I was going to say, I think right after this movie, because Nightmare on Elm Street was 84, I think that's when
Yeah.
he established himself as a household name.
Yeah,
He kind of
exactly.
became synonymous with horror at that point.
Well, it's kind of cool to see. People may be seeing us talk about Swamp Thing. It's like, is this really a horror movie? And it's like, yeah, So this is my thoughts with Craven's influence. This really leans into body horror, like the mutation, transformation type stuff, and also you have some kind of like the swamp setting. It's kind of like this, almost like gothic kind of swamp. You have these old churches and stuff like that, which are really cool. Um, and for Wes Craven, this is probably more adventure comic booky than maybe some of his darker work, but I feel like it still has horror roots to it.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. I think that this could have been any kind of movie. Like Swamp Thing made his debut 1971 in comics in a one-shot horror comic. They did House of Secrets. And so to see Wes Craven's spin on this, though, again, like I said, big budget, feels very actiony. There are horror elements hidden within, and I'll go as far to say as I was so happy watching this movie because it checks a couple of boxes for me, my dude. I love aquatic horror, and I
Oh yeah.
absolutely love monsters, as you know, because you do too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Creature from the Black Lagoon's like my favorite thing in the world. So it's got a little bit of that in there, but
Oh yeah,
mixed
for
with
sure.
everything like you got Loch Ness and Bigfoot and stuff like that. Like you and I love that cryptic shit. And so watching this movie, it was one of those things I think because the trailer presents it in such a way that I was just like, oh, I'm not in the mood for an 80s action movie. But okay, I'm gonna watch it to know that I loved it's a great thing.
I want to kind of break down the cast because this has a really cool cast to it. You got Adrienne Barbeau as Alice Cable. She's a major horror icon. You got The Fog. You got Creep Show. She was in Escape from New York, which isn't really horror, but it's adjacent. She brings like a real like her character is really kind of like a tough, kind of like a strong female
She's like an
lead.
Ellen Ripley, you know?
Exactly, yeah. And I think people would agree that she's probably one of the strongest elements with her acting and just Her presence in the film. You got Ray Wise playing Dr. Holland, and he's
Yep.
very much a recognizable face. You got Twin Peaks. He was in Twin Peaks. He was
Mhm.
Laura Palmer's dad. He's also in Jeepers Creepers 2, and he was in RoboCop too. He's
Oh
like,
shit, he was in Jeepers Creepers too, wasn't he? He's the
yeah,
farmer.
exactly, yeah.
See, that's the thing with Ray Wise. Like, I've always seen him in like that stage. I've never seen him as young as he was in this movie.
Oh,
And
okay,
dude, it was awesome.
yeah, yeah, he's good. And the guy that played Arcane, he was actually a Bond villain, I guess, in something. I can't remember now which
I could see
movie.
that. That makes sense.
But he plays a really good villain in this movie. He kind of I don't know, like he just kind of adds that kind of sinister edge to it. I feel like you have David Hess. I forgot his
Oh,
name. Dude, he's like a
legend.
yeah, he's a legend. Last House on the Left. Um, what else? I know he's been in some other stuff.
He always
Uh,
plays that guy too.
yeah, he kind of plays the same kind of character, kind of the douchebag kind of villain kind of guy,
Hmm.
and he kind of like the guy you wouldn't want to let around like your younger
He's like,
sister.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's a creepy uncle. No,
yeah,
he's just
he's a
sleazy all the time.
yeah,
But he does it so well. And you and I, we've interviewed people from Last House on the Left, and they always told us like he was like the nicest guy in real life, which makes him even more likable, like the guy you
yeah,
love to hate.
exactly. And even the guy that played Swamp Thing did a pretty good job. Jake Durock, is
Yes.
his name.
I like
Yeah,
the story behind his
yeah,
casting too, because he was just a stuntman, but then when they tried to do like Ray Wise in the suit and him in the suit to like intersplice it, they were like, they look way too different. Will you just do it? And he's like, I guess.
yeah. Well, I guess he reprised his role in Return of Swamp Thing in 1989,
Yeah,
and
which now
also
I'm excited to see that.
yeah, and also there was a Swamp Thing TV series from 90 to 93, and I guess he was Swamp Thing in that too. Which I do remember that being on TV. I never really watched it, but I'm gonna have to
Dedication.
check it out. Yeah.
What'd you think
So,
of the atmosphere, man? Just being down in the swamp in the bayou.
oh, it was great. It was really cool. The swamp, like the old like stone buildings that you could see kind of sticking out of the swamp, like the ruins and
Yeah.
stuff, man.
Yeah,
It
they were
really
talking about how it like used to be a church or something.
exactly, yeah. Like so, it really adds to that gothic kind of atmosphere. Yeah. So, yeah. So the atmosphere was really cool in this one. And I liked, like you said, the villains were good. There was the one guy, what's his name?
I wonder if it's who I'm thinking
The
of.
goofy guy,
Yeah. Oh.
uh,
Oh,
the
you're talking about the
one of the
guy who
sol one of the soldier
yeah.
guys.
You talking about the
I
dude who gets turned into a dwarf?
Yeah, he was in another movie called Don't Answer the Phone, and it's one of these kind of grindhouse schlocky movies. But he played the villain in that, so I
It's
think he did
Bruno, right?
Bruno
Bruno?
exactly.
Yeah.
So he did a good job in this one. So I don't want to pass on him. But anyway.
Oh, well, if we're doing that, you can't pass on my man Jude. He was probably my favorite character.
Oh, he was
He was
great.
hilarious.
You have all these great kid actors in the 80s. Like, yeah, Reggie from Friday the 13th Part 5, I think.
Yes. Yep.
And he was great. And then didn't Part 4 didn't have a oh well yeah.
Well, Feldman.
Yeah, Corey Feldman, yeah. But yeah, no, Jude is like right up there with he might have inspired some of these other
Well, think about
kid
it like that,
actors.
and that's kind of like what Wes Craven did because you had the kid from People Under the Stairs who was wonderful.
Oh yeah, oh he had a funny name.
Oh, careful, you get crucified over here if you get it wrong. Just pretend you know.
Okay. Yeah, no, children under the stairs. Come on,
Whoops.
people under the stairs. Yeah, it was a great movie.
Yeah, Wes Craven could do no wrong, my dude.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I love the atmosphere like this because again, I said I have a thing for like the aquatic horror, but it allowed the cinematography to be really fun because it gives you like Jaws vibes where the camera literally just floats above the water, so you're kind of eye level. Like you don't get like Swamp Thing vision or anything, but to be kind of like you're in the boat with some of these characters going through the swamp. You got the reeds, I think they're called, that stick out really high above the water. The moss is everywhere. It's definitely a place you like don't want to be. And then it's so cool because the Swamp Thing creature would just come out of nowhere, grab these dudes and throw them and flip the boats. And then you got fire. And I mean, it was like watching high speed chases, but with boats.
Exactly. They really made good use of the swamp. I mean, they had the boats, the chase scenes with the boats, and I feel like they really did a lot because you have the first part of the movie where um, these army dudes from Arcane are chasing Adrienne Barbeau through the swamp, and they constantly have these run-ins of Swamp Thing, and they don't know what the hell's going on. They're like, "Who is this? What's this creature?" You know, and they're freaking out, but they're also like under orders to get Cable, you know, and bring her back. And she had this notebook that has this formula. So basically, like, I don't know, we want to run through the premise really quick. I mean, we're
I
gonna
mean, you
do the
kind of
run.
are, so go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna do the run through, but basically just kind of a brief premises. Adrienne Barbeau, she's like a field agent for some government agency. I can't remember now what it is, but she goes out because Dr. Holland, he discovers this formula for it's some kind of like formula that combines animal and plant DNA, and they're going to use it to like make more robust crops. I think kind of something like that.
Feed
And
America.
yeah, and so it's like kind of a top secret thing. They're doing this work in the swamp where nobody knows where they're at, but
And
like
apparently he's like the smartest guy in the world, right? Like he is so
exactly.
brilliant. It's so top secret that most of our cast is just people here to protect him to make sure nothing happens to him.
Exactly, because there's this competitor guy that they think
Arcane.
Arcane, but they think he's actually dead, right? They say that he's dead or whatever, so but there's still kind of like these whispers or kind of like, well, there may be some kind of shadowy competitor trying to get our stuff or something. I don't know. As we're kind of talking through the movie, I mean, one of the most notable scenes, of course, is the transformation of Swamp Thing of Alec Holland's chemical accident. So you know, we get Arcane. You know, he's revealed to be one of the crew. He's got like this mask on. He's been there the whole time, you know, and um, so his men, you know, led by David Hess, you know, they bust into the laboratory.
Whose name is Ferret, by the way.
Oh, he's Ferret. That's right, Ferret. Yeah, and it's like I love how all these guys don't have grown up names, but that's okay. um, so you have like you know he gets set on fire, which is a cool special effect. You know, though
Every
that's
time.
always one of those special effects. I mean, this dude was on fire, like full body. I feel like how did that guy like? They must have had to like cut and do this in multiple takes or something. I don't know, but yeah, he was like on fire and he jumps into the swamp and you have this kind of bubbling water, and so they think, oh, he's dead. You know, they kind of forget about him, and then all of a sudden, Swamp Thing like busts out of the water and he's like. You know, he's like Hulk. You know, he hulked out basically.
Pretty much.
But yeah, it's such a cool scene. You know, they did this like kind of slow thing where he jumps out of the water. It's just you know, our monster movie reveal. You know, and um,
Well,
so
yeah. It's because, I love that this chemical, we don't know much about it, but it's got like this bright green glow. It was giving me like pre-reanimator vibes.
that's right. It did look like
And
the
yeah,
reagent or whatever it's called.
I remember when we talked in Reanimator, we were talking really good about how Stuart Gordon and them came up with this cool thing. And then today I'm watching it and I'm like, this came out before Reanimator. Hold a minute.
Yeah,
They didn't invent this. But it's a cool formula because when it touches the ground, it almost acts like it's a bomb or something, like an acid type thing. It like eats through things, it blows things up. And even one guy comments like, you reinvented nitro, and they're like, oh great. You wonder like, oh, are they doing like biochemical weapons? And obviously
yeah.
this is going to get used like from Arcane. If he gets a hold of it, it's for evil intent. But
Hmm.
is it Holland, right? Dr. Holland,
Yeah,
his desires are extremely wholesome, which again alludes to him being a really likable character, but it's our typical superhero, toxic Avenger, whatever type story of the scientist, things just go chaotic. There's a lab experiment that goes wrong or whatnot, but it gives us such a great fire sequence and scene. And like you said, he falls in the water, it bubbles, and then for a while you don't get Swamp Thing. But then whenever Adrienne Barbeau, our damsel in distress, gets literally to a point where she's getting drowned by David Hess's character, that's when Swamp Thing appears out of the water. And dude, he yeets all of those characters. We even get a Wilhelm scream at some point. It's great.
oh yeah, I noticed that too. It's funny. And that guy, I keep wanting to call him Rico. But that's not his name. The
Oh, Bruno?
Bruno, like he gets yeeted a couple of times by Swamp Thing, I feel
Oh
like.
yeah, at some point he's like, he's smart.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have this kind of tragic scene where Dr. Holland he's working in the lab with his sister actually, and it's funny because Adrienne Barbeau thinks it's his wife at first, and Dr. Holland's kind of flirting with Adrienne Barbeau with Cable, and she's kind of like taking offense. She's like, "Isn't your wife right there?" But like she finds out it's his sister. It's like, oh, so it's kind of like kind of a cool relationship, him and his sister. But then Arcane kills his sister, and that's when he like goes over the edge, and that's when he just like he takes the formula and throws it on the ground, and it blows up and causes. But then he sets himself on fire, and I don't think he was really going for that, but that's what happened.
Well, no, because he tripped.
Oh, that's right, he tripped, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this kind of sets us up for this chase scene where the army guys are going after Adrienne Barbeau because not only do they just want to because they've killed everybody else on site,
Yep.
they don't want any witnesses. So not only do they want to kill her, but she's also has this. There's like a series of notebooks that Dr. Holland has
7.
written all of his notes, 7 notebooks, and they have 1 through 6. But they need that seventh, and she has hidden it in the swamp actually, or in the ruins there. So they're trying to find her to find the notebook, and in the process, she runs to this gas station nearby, and she meets up with Jude, who we mentioned, and
Dude, when he first sees her, he's like, "Were you in an airplane crash?"
he's like, "Oh, here comes trouble." That's what he
Yeah.
said. He knows, man. This kid is like wiser than his years. I mean, but yeah, he's like, "Were you in a plane crash?" This kid has some great one-liners,
Yes.
and like even one point, she's like, "You stay right here," and he's like, "You took the words right out of my mouth."
Oh yeah, he's like, "Don't worry."
I'm not going anywhere. And like, and I guess he just like runs this gas station. I don't know. Cause she asked like, is there, what
Yeah,
does she
she's
ask?
like, "Is your dad's gas station?" But he doesn't really give her an answer.
No. And he does have a phone which she uses. She calls who she thinks is her superior, but it turns out to be Arcane. So that clues him into where she's at. And so we get this whole back and forth thing. But then like David Hess kills Jude, and it's like, oh, it's a really kind of upsetting scene.
Yeah.
But then Swamp Thing, we find out that he has this miraculous power where he can resurrect people from the dead, basically.
Yeah, like heal you.
Heal you. Yeah, that's really cool. So we get Jude back. So it's kind of happy. We're happy again. And he even gets an opportunity to heal Cable, Adrienne Barbeau's character too, because she gets stabbed by a machete in the chest. And we kind of get to see him like put some like moss on her chest, and that heals her. But Arcane does eventually capture Swamp Thing and Adrienne Barbeau and take him back to his villain lair.
Yeah, and I like the scene you talk about when I don't like that Adrienne Barbeau's character is stabbed, but when he heals her and brings her back to life, isn't that where she's able to eventually understand who Swamp Thing is?
Oh yeah, that's right. She didn't really understand it was Holland at first.
No, because for the longest time she's all like shoo shoo, and she's trying to shoo him away, and he
Yeah.
never comes out and says it. But
Yeah.
eventually they do have a moment because at some point she like wakes up and she's laying kind of like he's like holding her.
Yeah.
It's really cool scene because it kind of looks like she's laying against a tree, but then you
Oh, yeah.
realize it's him.
Right. And he gives her a little flower, and so that reminds her that because I think
Yes.
Holland actually gave her this or talked about the same type of flower, and so she knows it's him actually. So yeah, they have kind of a cool little scene where they're oh, it's you, but then like Arcane captures them, and she's like, why? Because she kind of realizes that Swamp Thing let this happen, let them be
Right.
captured, and he's like, the only way out is through, which is kind of a cool saying because I've heard that before. Like when you're in a struggle, like the only way to get out of it is just to go through.
Right.
So
Yeah, and we have a pretty cool scene where he's fighting with David Hess's character, and David Hess actually chops his arm off, right?
yeah, he does. Yeah,
I can't remember. I think Ferret does, I would assume, because he
I
was
think
kind of
so.
the
Yeah,
most, like, he was the leader of everything. But that didn't stop him from getting killed, though, because Swamp Thing crushes that dude's skull.
yeah, he just like mashes him down and like he's just like, "Ugh," he still has that super strength. But
But this did give us a really cool sequence because when they got captured and Swamp Thing is being kept in this dungeon, something else that we learn is that sunlight, which I get it, sunlight helps plants grow, but it helped
yeah,
his arm kind of like, what is the word I'm looking for? Like it grew back.
yeah, regenerated. Yeah,
Regenerated, yeah, but it was cool because you see it like in a couple of different steps, and there's like vines and twigs growing out of the stump of his arm, and it reforms and everything. And I was like, I never knew that was how that worked. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool special effect for sure. I mean,
He can heal, and he can heal others.
and we also find out that the way the formula works is it basically turns you it like not turns you, that's not the right word. It turns you into it. It basically
He
morphs
like
you into
amplifies what you are on the inside, right?
exact. That's the word I was
Yeah,
looking for. Amplifies. So in Holland's case, it turns him into this kind of strong nature, force of nature, basically.
right.
And for the other guy, Bruno, it turns. Oh, so we find out that
Oh man, Arcane is such an asshole.
yeah, he wants to test it out. He's actually been successful in duplicating the formula, but he doesn't want to test it out on himself first. He wants to test it out on Bruno first.
Use Bruno as a guinea pig and not even tell him about it till it's too late.
Exactly. They're all sitting around at this table, and there's like a bunch of other guests there. Like, I guess it's his other bad guy friends. I don't know who these people are.
Just some strippers and, some no good drug dealers and, some milita.
Yeah, yeah. So they have a toast to Bruno because he congratulates Bruno because Bruno's the one that found the seventh notebook and gave it
Right.
to Arcane.
Everybody takes a drink.
And everybody takes a drink. Bruno takes a drink, and then that's when Arcane makes the announcement, like, "Yeah, we're actually going to test this formula tonight."
Yeah,
And
it reminds us of the golden rule, Andy. You don't drink something that you didn't make yourself.
exactly, yeah. And so Bruno finds out that he drunk it, and then that's
And of
when we get.
course, he's going to turn into like a big, scary monster, right?
Yeah, you think so, but nope.
No, because he's a big guy on the outside, and on the inside, he's I
He's a
guess,
cow.
yeah,
He's a
I guess
little
so. They're
coward, I
trying
guess.
like a little like pixie type deal, you know?
Yeah, it was like a little pygmy kind of. Yeah, pygmy, I think is the
Yeah,
word. Pig.
yeah.
Yeah, he turned him into this little dwarf pigman thing. And of course, Bruno didn't really like that. He kind of went crazy and started like terrorizing everybody.
Everybody was
And
just kind of terrified of the leprechaun or a little Rumpelstiltskin type deal.
yeah, yeah, he
Yeah,
was kind of like a little leprechaun. It was funny. And so Arcane,
very disappointed.
yeah, I think that they took him down to the dungeon and put him in the cage with Swamp Thing and Adrienne Barbeau.
Yeah, and then Arcane asked Swamp Thing, he's like, why didn't it turn him into a Swamp Thing creature? And that's when he's
Yeah,
like, oh, that's not the way it works. It amplifies who you are on the inside.
yeah,
And that gives Arcane another idea.
yeah, because Arcane knows, or he feels like he's a genius, right? And
Yes.
so he's like, "Oh, this is just gonna amplify my genius, so I can take over the world,
Right. And
basically."
he's very challenged by Dr. Holland because Dr.
Yeah,
Holland is, I guess, seen more superior than he is, but he thinks if he takes this solution, he will have that fix.
yeah. So yeah, Arcane definitely has plans of his own with this formula, and he wants to expand his genius, and
The only way
um,
to get smarter is bottoms up, right?
bottoms up. That's
Oh,
right. So he
gosh.
he takes the rest of the formula that he didn't give to Bruno, and he chugs it down.
He downs the reagent.
He drinks it down like I drink Diet Mountain Dew down, man. It's
Oh
crazy.
my gosh, dude, I'm with you too. Iced coffee and Mountain Dew have become my best friends now. But
All right.
I can tell you, when I down those, I don't become the smartest man ever, but I also don't turn into what he turns into.
All right, man. It was like this. We got an interesting transformation scene here. It was like his body started kind of puffing out, almost like he was turning into like the Doughboy or something. Like
Got some ginger dead man
it
effects.
was like, yeah, it was like kind of like his face kind of turned into like puffy. His hands started to look like oven mitts.
My man was turning into a garbage pail kid.
Yeah, and then after we kind of got done with that phase, then he kind of ripped it open, and we saw the man bear pig underneath, and
That's right. You know what? Much better. Dude, when he ripped his face apart, I was kind of like like shocked, like holy crap, what's happening? But then I was relieved because I did like what was underneath much better.
yeah, no, it looked pretty cool.
It
I mean,
just
it was
proves what is on the inside does actually count.
yeah, it was like a wild boar or something, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll take it. I mean, I guess he was a pig, right? And maybe that's what they're saying he
yeah,
is on the inside. And so he becomes a pig monster. And it sufficed to go against a swamp thing, I'd say. I enjoyed it.
yeah. And he starts kind of wreaking havoc right off the bat. And he grabs a sword. He's got this old like antique sword or whatever, and
As a pig monster would do, I guess.
yeah, and so he goes. I guess his first order of business is to go down and take care of Swamp Thing and Cable down in the dungeon.
Yeah, well, luckily, We got to remember Bruno's in there, and Bruno's
Yep.
like, "Hey, I'm with you now. I know a way out of here." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. That makes sense of how they could get out." And so they go down like this reservoir or something, and basically this dungeon does in fact lead to the swamp, so they can swim and get out.
Yeah, yeah, get this cool little secret passageway, and they just, yeah, it's a natural spring that kind of leads out to the swamp.
That
So,
stuff always blows my mind, Andy, because I'm like, can you hold your breath that long? Like that is
yeah,
terrifying.
I always see that in movies. They're always like swimming for like 5 minutes. I'm like, really? Like, if they,
Yeah.
if they have to swim underwater for like,
I'm like, what is this, Rico Browning? Come on.
yeah. But yeah, no, it was. I mean, the set pieces in this movie are really cool. Like that dungeon was really cool. They have this like underground spring thing that they jump into, and
Right. And it would make sense for this movie. Our final showdown has to take place in the swamp.
yeah, so they get out in the swamp, and we're not sure. They it seems like they're gonna kind of make a getaway, but then Arcane like pops up out of the water
Pretty
right
cool.
then with his sword, and he's ready for battle.
Yeah, so much so that Swamp Thing's got to get a weapon of his own, but he doesn't pull out a sword. No, sir. He decides he's gonna like tear a giant root or something
Yeah,
and have a sword fight with him. And people say don't bring a knife to a gunfight, but they didn't say shit about bringing a big old tree branch.
yeah, he brought a branch to a sword fight, I guess, and I mean, but he clobbered Dr. Arcane. I mean,
Well,
he knocked
careful,
him down.
clobbering is a Marvel thing now. This is a DC thing.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yep. He did the
He
smackdown.
He did. Okay, we're gonna go that route. Yeah, and he does what he's got to do, man. He thinks he gets the best of Arcane, but Andy, you and I both know the rules of horror movies, and this is close to a horror movie. Your killer's not dead. There's always one final scare.
You gotta do the double tap, yeah, because
You
you
got
think,
to.
and so they're, they kind of have this happy little moment, but then the Arcane busts it back up. He's like, rah, and gives us that pig squeal or pig roar, whatever he does, and but that's when Swamp Thing grabs the sword and does a little Three Musketeers, or no, he does like his version of Zorro on Dr. Arcane and like chops him up into,
Cuts him up. Yeah.
yeah, into every letter of the alphabet.
That's right, my dude. And one thing we didn't talk about is this being a PG movie. We don't get like a mass array of blood in this movie. In fact, almost none. But what we do get is some gushy dark goo.
Yeah, it's funny. Like you said, this is PG, right?
It is PG.
Well, it's funny. Like PG didn't really mean a whole lot back in the day because Jaws is PG too, right?
Oh, yeah, man. Of course I know. I didn't fucking realize Jaws comes off as a rated R movie because of the terror,
Yeah,
but I guess you're right. I mean, but there's blood in Jaws, so that's weird the
yeah,
decisions made here. Maybe the red blood wouldn't show up good in the dark swamp.
yeah. I don't know. So, but it's like we did get some, but we got some we got some kills in this movie. We got some violence.
Oh yeah, we got some head crushing. It
We got
works.
Adrienne Barbeau taking a bath in the swamp. Yeah.
So weird, my dude. Like, I'm not one to sit here and say like nudity belongs or doesn't belong in horror movies, but I've always kind of been on the page of if it fits the script, if it makes sense, then sure. But this scene kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it does kind of feed into that Beauty and the Beast thing we got going on here with the Swamp Thing, and
Oh,
he
you're
kind
right,
of,
because I
yeah,
guess it kind of like humanizes Swamp Thing for a minute because he is still Dr. Holland and he loved her before, and I guess when he
yeah.
sees her bathing, it kind of is like, look, the woman I love who I can never be with. Great, Andy. Now it's depressing as shit. Way to go.
Yeah, so even though like we have kind of a happy ending because we have Jude and Cable are alive and they're happy, but then Swamp Thing makes that tough decision. He's like, we can't be together, because it just I don't even see how that would work. But
Yeah,
anyway,
he's basically in that situation of, you deserve to be with somebody who's not a monster.
you know who? Speaking of Jude, you know who Jude reminds me of?
Who?
Did you ever watch the TV show Malcolm in the Middle?
No, actually, I didn't.
Okay, there's a kid that kind of reminds me of Jude a little bit, but he
Okay.
but he like he talks like this, and he spaces out his words with breasts in the middle. It's I don't know, but the
I
delivery
thought
is,
you were going to tell me he reminds you of a Beatles song.
oh
Hey, Jude.
yeah. But anyway, that's a little random thing there. But yeah, I mean, this is a cool little movie, and it's cool to see kind of its legacy and influence. We have Return of the Swamp Thing with Heather Locklear. 1989, we have Some more, we'll see some more comic-based horror movies coming down the line. And this is also like kind of one of the first monster as a hero movies too that
Oh,
we
for
get.
sure, because this was a couple years before Toxic Avenger, and they had very like similar things where innocent man becomes the creature, and then everybody's afraid of him, and he wants to win the girl over. But oh yeah, dude, there's a whole plethora of comic book based movies that kind of go into that horror realm. Like you and I have talked about Blade a few times. That would always be really cool. I mean, that's the fucking movie that saved Marvel, to be honest. But one thing I'll say that's, since we're talking about it is like if people look like we're a horror podcast, but we've done like top five wrestling moves, and I use that as a segue for WrestleManiac. But, you kind of pulled this movie out of left field, and I'm so glad you did because it was so enjoyable. I'd be down to do other comic book movies of this time period if you ever wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'd be totally down too as well. So yeah, and I think even like after this point, I don't know, the comic books maybe take a darker turn too, because you have the Alan Moore stuff and
Right.
all
Horror
that.
sells, my dude.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like Swamp Thing definitely has a cult status among like comic book guys and probably a few horror guys there too.
For sure. And I would love to check out that TV show, if nothing else, the pilot episode to see what that's about. And then they did it again in like 2019 where Derek
Oh
Mears
yeah,
played.
that's
Yeah,
oh
he played
dang,
the
okay.
Swamp Thing character. And, if people are like, Derek Mears, I know that. Well, he was Jason in the Friday 13th remake. He was even in The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. There's kind of a Wes Craven connection there.
Oh yeah.
Not that Wes Craven did that, but he did the original too. But anyway, I'm just saying, Derek Mears is awesome. He's actually coming to Dallas pretty soon.
Oh nice.
I thought about going to see him, but I can't get a Laserdisc signed because he wasn't in anything where at that time
Oh
period.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, man. I know we're getting close to the end of this podcast, so I'll just say, wrapping up this movie. If somebody came to me and was like, "Dude, what's this movie all about?" I say, to sum it up in one word, fun. This movie's just fun. I liked it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's not like a hardcore horror movie, but it's got
No,
enough in
but
there.
it's in there. You got
It's entertaining.
monsters.
Yeah, you
You
got
got,
monsters.
creature battles. You got deaths. You got damsel in distress, and you
Yep.
got comedy. It's good.
Yeah.
It's fun. And but if it's not everybody's cup of tea, we got you covered because the next episode we're getting into sci-fi horror because we're gonna do The Faculty, and that movie's
Yeah.
awesome.
It is, man. You got Robert Rodriguez, you got monsters, monster effects, you got body snatchers. Like, yeah, I
Elijah
love it.
Wood,
Oh yeah.
Usher,
Oh
Josh
yeah.
Hartnett, like they're all there
Yeah. Josh Hartnett, which did he
with his
do?
H2O haircut.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna mention. Which came first, H2O or the faculty? I can't
I
remember.
think H2O did because when I saw The Faculty, it was like, oh, it's the dude from Halloween. That's cool. That's kind of what
Oh,
started
okay.
his big rise to bad haircuts. I mean, movies. But
Yeah.
no, it's totally awesome. So, Swamp Thing wasn't your cup of tea. No worries. Next episode, we got you. Sci-fi horror. Going to talk about The Faculty. We didn't mention it before. Well, we did on the previous episode, but Swamp Thing is on Tubi. The Faculty, as of right now, is on Paramount Plus. So if you guys want to get ready for that episode, you can do your homework there. But I'm sure half our audience has seen it anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool, man. You got anything else on Swamp Thing?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, that wraps up this episode. I'm Phantom Dark Dave.
And I'm Abnormal Andy.
And thanks for listening to the Screaming Skull podcast.
See ya.